Buckley. I'm the mayor of the city of Beech Grove. And to my far right is Rob Cheshire. He is our fire chief. To my near right is Mark Schwartz. He is our police chief. And to my left is Derek Blyce. Derek Blyce is one of two compliance officers that works for the city of Beech Grove. We currently have one vacant position, which we'll be filling after July holidays. This is the first chance that I've had to publicly talk about the events of the last couple of weeks. And when we had the incident with the police officer on South 4th and the chase with Walmart, I was out of town on vacation with my family. I was out of town from June the 2nd to June the 10th on a vacation that we take every year. So those days, I received immediate notification from the police chief. So needless to say, the last 2 days of my vacation were not really vacation. I was busy fielding calls, but that's all right. That's part of it. Before we get started, I wanted to make a couple of announcements, not pursuant to this evening, but for your information. This weekend is Relay for Life down at the football field at 13th and Main. I know the weather might not be any good, but the opening ceremonies is 10 o'clock Saturday morning, and it runs for 24 hours, and we invite you to attend sometime during that time period and give a donation to someone who has had cancer or is fighting cancer now or who has passed away. Also this Saturday at 9 a.m. in the parking lot at the police department, we are having a city auction. We are auctioning off vehicles and some equipment. So that will take place rain or shine. That's this Saturday morning at 9 o'clock. Obviously, July 3rd is the fireworks in the city park. We invite you to attend. One thing different this year than in years past, unless you have a handicap, they will not allow you to park in the park this year. You'll have to walk in. So they've been talking about that for quite a little while, and so that's something that's different this year. And finally, July the 11th is the city is going to sponsor its first Shred It Day. That's a Saturday from 9 to noon. If you have paper that you would like to have destroyed, you can bring it to City Hall. There will be a big shred it truck behind the building, and you can have that shredded, and they will give you a certificate should you desire. So that is a service that's going to be provided to you. There's no charge to you, but that's July the 11th at from 9 until noon back behind the building. So having said that, we'll get started. One of the things that you've seen in the news in the last week or so has to do with Motel 6. Motel 6 has been on our radar for over a year and a half. Motel 6 has been considered a public nuisance. And the problem with Motel 6 is it is a haven for prostitution and drug abuse. We have had meetings with the corporate folks from Dallas, Texas, and as recently as last week, we sent some emails back and forth with our city attorney concerning the problem at that motel. The history on it is the city of Indianapolis licenses all motels in Marion County with the exception of Beech Grove Speedway in Lawrence. So we have 3 motels that have been out on their own for a long time with no jurisdiction. The city of Indianapolis, the code enforcement folks with the city of Indianapolis would not come and help us because they didn't license them. So what we did and what the city council did, which was very good government, they passed an ordinance, so now all the motels in the city of Beech Grove are licensed. They have inspections, They pay a license fee plus a room fee, and then every year, the first of every January, they are up for renewal. So now the city has leverage to go after these motels if they don't want to be a good citizen. So Motel 6 does not want to be a good citizen. They don't want to be a good partner with the city of Beech Grove. They charge $40 for a room, and that just invites all kinds of mischief. Our police spend way too much time down there, and when they go down there, they are subject to environmental matters, including dirty needles and all kinds of stuff. So that has to stop. Last Thursday, they were declared a public nuisance. So now what happens, in 20 more days, they get a final letter from the police chief. If they haven't cleaned their act up, then we will begin enforcement of tickets. The tickets will be written by the police department. And they don't have, it's at the discretion of the police officer to write the ticket or not. The first ticket that they write is $100 plus court costs, and it comes to the city court in Beech Grove. The second ticket that they write within a calendar year is $250 plus court costs. The third ticket is $2,500 plus court costs. The ticket doesn't go to who's renting the room. The ticket goes to who controls the property, the management of the property. And it's not the city's desire to raise revenue. It's the desire to change the business type. We don't want that down there, and we've made it perfectly clear. And it's up to Motel 6 to respond to us. So we'll just see over time how that plays out. The second thing that I want to talk to you about before I start, does anybody have any questions concerning the Motel 6? Yes?
Who's the owner of that facility there?
It's a corporate Motel 6 out of Dallas, Texas.
So it's a corporation, not an
Yes,
individual?
not an individual. Yes?
How many times do you go to make runs there when you write a ticket? Will it be spontaneous for an officer just to spot check? Do they get a call? How many tickets in a year? I mean, what I'm saying is they've already been a nuisance. Not that I'm saying we're going to target them, but I guess to more or less get the point across that we mean business and enough is enough.
I'm not.
Do you have to get a call before they go?
Yes, they'll call, when they get a call, they go down there, and then the officer, his choice to write the ticket or not.
So the call comes from the front desk,
No, generally the call comes from the 911 control center,
but who calls them?
the motel.
Right, but they know now the effect that that's going to take. So there's a good possibility they'll hold out till something really disastrous happens before they make that call.
I don't know. You may be exactly right. You may be exactly right.
Have we not fined them before?
No. The ordinance that we just passed, or the ordinance that we're referring to now, was just passed by the city council within the last 3 or 4 months. So. Yes?
Now, what if other agencies take action at Motel 6? Would Beech Grove still be citing them for those instances where a Beech Grove officer is not involved?
I don't know. Where's Craig?
You have to ask the chief, would there be an instance where a non-Beech Grove agency would be trying to run at that location?
Can you have them repeat?
The question was, if another police agency writes them a ticket, will it be enforced in our court?
No, that.
I think the question is-
The question was, if another agency takes police action at Motel 6, would Beech Grove then go back and cite them for the other agency having police activity there?
If they fit into the nuisance violation, yes, we would.
Any questions on Motel 6?
With that license, does it become a check those rooms and make sure that they're structurally sound and ticket us with that? Also, not just a police run, but a safety issue?
Yes,
Or is it a clean?
the ordinance,
Nice?
the ordinance, when they license, they allow us to come in and inspect.
Anytime.
What about the Board of Health? If they cite them for a food problem, we have to cite them for that?
No. The Board of Health is their own entity. They have their own court, environmental court. Oh, yes.
What if there's somebody was killed over there?
I think that would depend on what the situation was. That's actually happened.
Overdose or whatever?
Yes. Yeah, I don't know what would happen. Yes.
How many police reports have been written over there in the past year?
I don't know about reports, but I can tell you how many runs that we've taken to Motel 6 in 2014. We had 85 runs.
Do you know how many reports were taken?
No, mine is only broken down as far as the runs that we take.
Is that police and fire?
No, this is just police.
That's 85 runs the first 4 months of the year. So we'll be there this year probably 300 times. Yes.
Just for perspective, how does that compare to the other two hotels in town?
The Super 8, there were 9. The La Quinta, there was 24.
Does the new Holiday Inn Express not fall into Beech Grove?
No.
It's not.
There's 3 motels in the city of Beech Grove, Motel 6, Super 8, and La Quinta. The Red Roof Inn and Holiday Inn Express are in Indianapolis. Any questions concerning Motel 6?
We've had 47 to Motel 6 within the last year.
Well, what do you do about it? What have you done about it?
About the ambulance rooms?
I mean, since we didn't have an ordinance? I mean, you just go and make the call, what do you, I mean, you're not finding him or you're not doing anything? Because you said you just got this passed that we can do it.
As long as that motel has been there, up until 4 months ago, the city did nothing.
Okay.
We'll move on to, if there's no more questions concerning Motel 6, we'll move on to Walmart. As you know, the YouTube video came out concerning Walmart last week or so, and the city has, for the past 2 years, been meeting with Walmart concerning issues on the property, both on the property and in the property. And today, my position last week was that, as far as I was concerned, Walmart was a public nuisance. As far as I was concerned, they weren't a very good corporate partner. They did nothing to help this community, except for drain our resources and add to our crime statistics. So they met with us this morning here in these chambers, and the Walmart's corporate attorney was there. Their media director for the company was there. The lady who overseen the Indiana and Kentucky Walmarts was there. The manager of the motel was there, and then one safety person, I'm not sure what his title was there. And we talked about these issues. We talked about our police going to Walmart every single day, multiple times. We talked about overnight parking. We talked about being a public nuisance. We talked about panhandling. We talked about problems inside the store. And we talked about the property behind the store. All of these factors. And I left the meeting feeling very good about it. And I think that Walmart, I'm going to give them their due. I'm going to be patient and see what they do over the next couple of weeks. But we received an email back from their public affairs director, and one of the recommendations that we made was that they have their police in that store. So within 24 hours, we will communicate the initial coverage times that you, within the next 24 hours, we will communicate to you the times when police will be in the store. We will introduce what they call a CEC pilot program to people who have shoplifted for the first time, to defer them instead of being arrested. We will immediately, we will no longer call the police for thefts under $50. They were calling us when somebody stole a $3 picture frame. We will address a letter to the City of Beech Grove, the police department, asking that the panhandlers that stand out in the store be removed. We will work on the fencing behind the store. We will not allow overnight tractor-trailer parking. This is more for the folks who live behind Walmart. So anyway, that is the initial email I got back from them about at a little after 4 this afternoon. So we'll see. Their contact person is the chief, and they'll work through that. Our goal is for them to become a better partner with us, contribute to this city, and to quit draining our resources like they're doing right now. So when we met this morning with them, my opening remarks was, as far as I'm concerned, as mayor, but as a citizen, you're still a public nuisance. I don't think you're a very good business partner, and until you change the way you think, I'm not going to change my mind. You're going to have to show us that you're willing to do better, and we'll see what happens. So I told them that the YouTube video put the City of Beech Grove in a very poor light. It was embarrassing. We are not like that, and they need to do a better job of coordinating that message. Those people weren't from here, and they're not like us. Walmart also was embarrassed by that video as well, as they should be. So hopefully there will be a better relationship between the City of Beech Grove and Walmart. So I'm going to open it up for questions concerning Walmart. Yes?
You said they're gonna have police there? What police?
They will hire,
I mean, these are people that they're hiring?
They are
Just
gonna,
security officers?
they're gonna hire off-duty officers is what we want them to do. And that was the agreement. They would hire off-duty officers to take away what we run to is usually a theft. And they would do those reports and those arrests as well.
Are these just security people? Or
These
they
are off-duty
police
officers. These are off-duty officers. It's not the security they have in now, is what we asked them to do.
yes.
The taxpayers don't have to pay for the officers to do that. And I hope somebody pays it, because I'm sure they don't want to do it for nothing.
It will be Walmart that pays the off-duty officer to be there.
Dennis, would there be any possibility of the media making this correction and saying that these ladies, well, these women that were brought miles
I'm not really sure how much clearer we could make it. We've repeatedly said that to those folks.
Oh, we requested that they
Yes?
Yeah, does Walmart pay chip tax? Yes.
Yes. What a lot of people don't realize is Walmart pays taxes, but they are in a tax intricate finance district. So a lot of the tax dollars that Walmart pays doesn't come directly to the city of Beech Grove.
Well, that was the understanding we had when Warner Wiley brought them in, was that Beech Grove was gonna profit by them, they were tax money. And that's why they didn't want a housing division in it. That's contradictory to what he said.
I'm just stating what I know to be the fact. That is true. They are in a TIF district along with Lowe's, and the majority of that money goes into the redevelopment commission to redevelop the city of Beech Grove. So we are being drained, and our budgets don't have the means to pay.
But yet that money still is coming into Beech Grove.
Yes.
Just in a
Different way. Yes, yes.
My observation is, inside Walmart, as a citizen, I don't seem to see a lot of trouble. Obviously, there was the one incident, I'm sure there has been others. But what I observe when I'm in the parking lot is a lot of activity going on that could probably be avoided if there was officers sitting in cars or driving down the aisles of the parking lot. Did you talk about that at all?
Yes, we talked about the behavior in the parking lot. We talked about people who park there overnight. We talked about parking lot attendants. We talked about the type of calls that come from the parking lot versus what comes from the store. And I'm not sure what else. We talked about how often they clean the parking lot. You know, other Walmarts, every night after midnight, you see street sweepers in there cleaning. You know, does that happen here at Beech Grove Walmart? I mean, I don't know, you know. The police, they can tell me, but I have no clue. But why should we not have that and everybody else does? They should maintain their property no different than anybody else. Yes?
Yeah, I'd like to know how many officers they plan on hiring. Did they say that? And I thought I understood you to say that the officers were not going to be in attendance all the time, 24 hours a day at Walmart?
I don't think they would be, but I don't think they'll disclose when they come and when they don't.
That's my understanding. We've asked them to be there during certain times, and I think that it's gonna be one officer, and if that officer needs help, obviously, they will call, and our officers will go and assist them.
Will they be in uniform?
As policy before, yes, but they'll be hired by Walmart, and I'm sure Walmart will want them in uniform, but that will be something that they will decide also. It would be the police officer's uniform, whatever agency they work for.
Ken?
It's my understanding that since they're a business, we're gonna have to take this slow. We're not gonna be able to walk into that door and to make all these demands. It's gonna be a process that you guys are gonna have to work with them, see what they do and balance it out. I don't think Beech Grove as a city can walk in and tell any business how their officers have to dress, how many they have to have, and what they have to do. I think that's gonna be a process that you're gonna have to work with.
I agree, but I think the city has the right to go in there and tell them what they expect from them.
Well, I do too, but I think it's just, you guys are gonna have to push them. You just can't walk in and do it overnight.
Yes, sir.
To follow on what Ken just stated, maybe Situate, you get the stages, gave you police chief require a minimum standard. And they should be there 24/7, period. You know, Walmart can afford it. And with that, ensure that things are followed through, you know, there's accountability. Right now, there's accountability. So if you allow them to make the decision, you know what they're going to do.
They're a private business. We can only ask them to be good neighbors and cooperate with us. We will make suggestions, but if we have asked them in prior years for help, and this is the first time that they've been cooperative in wanting to help us in our situation. And I don't know if it's the YouTube video that raised the issue, but I'm appreciative that at least they said they're gonna make the effort and are willing to do what we want or need.
But just like the council did earlier, or if Motel 6, could the mayor's office and the council, city council, require a minimal standard per call? Because if there's accountability, there'll be response. But if you're not holding people to the fire, they're a business.
I don't know if the council can do it or not. That would be something legal would probably have to look into.
Motel 6.
As-
Yes,
But not Walmart.
we can, and we told them today that would happen. Walmart would be treated the same as Motel 6. They would be declared a public nuisance, and then after the certain time parameters would end, then the officer would have the right to issue a ticket just like he would any other home or business. Yes?
I think really what's going to boil down to is the same thing you have in Kmart down on Madison Avenue. It's not there anymore.
Oh, I don't know. Yes, Joe?
I'm just curious if there are any representatives from Walmart that are here tonight listening to this. For the Motel 6 or perhaps any of the hotels? Thank you.
Have we seen it progressively get worse each year Walmart has been here statistically on police runs, or are they just having a bad year? Or just because we've only seen like 2-year comparisons?
Statistically, I can't tell you statistically the amount of runs because our computer system with Marion County has changed, so we're not able to get our runs from several years ago. But our runs to them has been high and it's stayed high.
We told them this morning concerning the public nuisance ordinance that if you're not willing to work with us, then I'm going to instruct the police chief that we're not going to go down there anymore for petty thefts and shoplifting. We're not going to do it. Because every time we go down there, you people lose because they're not in your neighborhood. And I would rather them be in your neighborhood than in a Walmart parking lot. That's just how I look at it.
We have noticed, and our neighbors have, that people use either Lowe's carts or Walmart's, and they come down to the wall that's built, and they climb over the wall. Mrs. Roach is one who lives around, and Frieders is another family, and they Frieders watch out their back window and see them climbing over the wall.
We talked to them this morning about that, extending that wall out towards Emerson Avenue, because we no longer want people walking through that neighborhood to go to Walmart. And they haven't done a very good job. One of the 26 covenants that they agreed to when they built that facility was that they would maintain that land between that fence and your property, and they haven't done it. So they're going to talk about that. They're going to talk about the fence that they put up that keeps getting broke, and the fact that probably their employees are taking stuff out of the store and taking it back behind the fence, and people are changing clothes and doing all kinds of other stuff back behind those fences.
Well, and also a neighbor asked me about mowing over there.
Beg your pardon?
They asked me about them mowing their grassy area, and we have so many trees in that area that we can't see over them. In the fall, when the leaves are all gone, we can see over there, but I haven't heard a lot of them going over there for quite some time.
Back behind Lowe's and towards those that live down on Ardmore and Redford down there. Do you know who's maintained that property for the last 3 years? The city. Yeah. We felt sorry for the people that live back there because Walmart and Lowe's wouldn't do anything about it.
The fence and the fence line. And I don't think Walmart's mowing.
Oh, there's no doubt they're not mowing. Because there's storm drains down there to keep your neighborhoods from flooding, and the water can't get to the storm drains because the grass has grown up over the storm drains. And also, Walmart was, and they know about this, Marty Humphrey and Beverly Wise. Walmart was going to contact them this afternoon and talk with them.
Marty goes down in the corner.
Yeah.
That fence is a joke. I mean, you can.
Are you talking about the permanent fence or the chain link?
The chain link.
Yeah.
Because they go right behind, I've seen them. Undesirables walk right down Redfern. I guess that's Ardmore down there. I don't know what the end of the street
Ardmore
is.
and Redfern.
And they just go right back up there, and if an adult, which I do know an adult at Freer's home at one time, was out there and tried to stop them, they just give them the finger and go right on. I mean, it's no big deal. They're not afraid of adults.
I don't think they're afraid of the fence either.
No, they just go right on. But they need to put, if you really want to stop this, they need to put a cement block fence back there, which would stop everything.
Mm-hmm.
Would stop people from climbing through.
Yes.
Do we know what percentage of their total customers are Beech Grove citizens and/or are citizens from around the city? Because as I look at it, there's a power in a vote, and there's a power in a dollar. And they can choose to become a citizen with us, or we can choose where to spend our money. And we can make a bigger impact. If they don't want to participate with us, we don't need to spend our money there. And until they show us that they want to be part of our community, I will not be going into that parking lot.
Folks, I learned a startling statistic this morning when we had our meeting that I had no clue was out there. The first 6 months of this year in the city of Beech Grove, we had 177 larcenies.
Thefts, yeah, theft reports.
177 theft reports in the city of Beech Grove. The first 6 months. 84% of those theft reports came from Walmart.
Can you legally refuse police protection over there?
Not for a legitimate emergency.
Have you been over there in the evening?
Sure.
Like 8 or 9 o'clock?
Yes.
There's a different group of people. I'm not saying they're Beech Grove people or not Beech Grove people, but there's some rough-looking people.
Yes. 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 And I've been over there early in the morning and late at night.
I haven't been there since, so.
Yes. Yes, Jim.
Okay, has there been any comparison to other Walmarts compared to the counter runs? I know the one on Point Road, I go by there every Tuesday, and about every time I go by, there's a police officer with the light on who's driving in the parking lot. Is there any comparison to that?
We haven't done comparison to those. We worry about ours, and we know other Walmarts have a lot of runs, and some other Walmarts in Marion County have gotten this community corrections that Walmart wants to implement themselves. I think this YouTube brought it out that they're going to implement it here in the Beech Grove one, which might save us some runs also. We'll see how that works.
Unfortunately, with this, we have been getting other calls from other cities, and I think somebody asked me this morning, we're up over 24 different cities that have called because they're watching this because they have the same problem. And they don't know how to deal with it. And the latest one was this afternoon from Long Beach, California.
My daughter lives in St. Louis, and she said she heard all about it, saw it on TV there. So it's getting.
Yes, sir.
You mentioned a CEC pilot program. Could you explain what that is?
They explained it shortly today, that it's their in-house community corrections or diversion program they run it all themselves. And the police only get involved if that person that did the theft doesn't fit into their profile.
So it's an internal Walmart CEC pilot program, it's not our.
Correct. It's not the cities, not the counties or states, it's a Walmart program.
Sandy?
Do you know what CEC stands for?
No. I know that they are gonna send me the information on it, but I don't know any more than that until they tell me how it's gonna work and how they want it to work.
Mayor, thank you for having us all here tonight in this forum. I really do appreciate this. I am a very concerned citizen. What can we do as citizens and residents of Beech Grove to help you fight Walmart?
Well, I told Walmart this morning that we don't shop there anymore. My wife and I, we go in there all the time. And I told him that the manager, I said, you people have a cavalier attitude, and you could care less about us. I don't go in there pronouncing myself as the mayor. I go in there pushing a bass cart with my wife. They have no clue who I am, and they could care less if I'm in there or not. And so we'll start going to Kroger's.
We go to South, to the one out south.
So
How about we all just buy a half a pound of lunch meat or something at the Beech Grove Meat Market?
all right. Any other questions on Walmart?
The reason criminals are attracted to Walmart is because Walmart makes it comfortable for criminals to go there. They're not doing anything to stop people from committing crimes there. And it's great that the police officers can be there in uniform. I feel it should be all the time. I rarely go to Walmart, and every time I've ever been, and the reason I don't go, there's always police there. There's always something going on that makes me so uncomfortable. But those criminals feel comfortable going there. They feel comfortable going in there and shoplifting and getting out of there, probably waiting for the police to come and know it's going to be a little bit. And they need to, Walmart needs to find a way to make it uncomfortable for criminals, not make them so, feel like, you know, it's easy sailing there, easy picking. So that's just a statement I want to make. I don't understand Walmart's attitude about it. They're losing money when, you know, criminals come in there. And it is, it's not even Beech Grove, it's people coming from other areas that are attracted to that Walmart for some reason. They need to figure it out and make it uncomfortable.
Understand that one officer at the door is not going to change that. The officer at the door is going to make Walmart pay for filing all these reports instead of the city of Beech Grove paying for it. That's all that changes. There is another Walmart, that I won't mention which one, that has 12 full-time LP officers, loss prevention officers. IMPD runs 6 to 8 runs a day, to the point that the district jokes about putting a substation in. Far worse than we've got, but we don't have the resources, we're a smaller community. But all this really does is change that little bit of paperwork and time and money for the officers. In honest, it's not gonna change Walmart, it's not gonna change the theft, the environment that you're talking about, but you're right, because the officers at the door can't watch that whole store. And apparently their camera systems are not monitored.
Those women were fighting for how long in Walmart? I mean, I watched the video and I watched part 2, which I wish I would have. How long were they going and not one person in management came over there and said, knock it off or stop her? I mean, that just could have gone on and on and on. So I didn't see the end of it, but.
They don't even check their tickets at the door anymore. It's the easiest place in the world.
Yeah, I'm from
Joe?
Have you reached out to legislature so we can try to get some laws enacted to cut this down in Indiana? I'm sure Indiana doesn't want to see, so we can reach out to somebody in legislature to, once it gets this egregious.
I have not. But before I would do that, I would reach out to the legislature and talk to them about big box companies such as Walmart who leave their property and the assessment goes down, so they want all of their buildings assessed the same way. That would be the first piece of legislation that I would ask them to do, because those cripple cities. Any other questions on Walmart? Yes.
Just have a statement. I don't know how long ago negotiations with Walmart actually started before Walmart that the history of Walmart as itself, did we really not think that we were gonna have, some serious issues with them, police runs? I mean, you know, things like that weren't taken into.
I don't know. The only thing I know.
I think they were before, you know, before your time.
Yes.
Before, as mayor.
I just felt it was ironic because the safety director that was there at the meeting today was the same guy that was here a year ago when we had the same complaints and he did nothing. So.
So what makes you think it would?
Well, I just think they will because they got different players now that oversee him.
When was Walmart built?
03, 04? I don't remember.
04, I think.
05?
Well, before Walmart was built, the city council went behind everybody on the south side's back and made arrangements to get it all done. And one guy, he made the remark, it's a done deal, and you can't do anything about it. And they didn't even have the courtesy to ask the residents in that area, would they care if that came in?
We did not want it.
Okay.
But you know, now that it's here, it's kind of scary alternative to think if they are driven out or made so difficult to exist, then we're going to be stuck with a great big empty building that's going to have a lot more crime, and so we're kind of between a rock and hard spot.
I don't think that's the goal, not to drive them out, but to get them to be responsible.
Yeah.
Yes.
You mentioned that there were 26 covenants that were stated to build Walmart.
Mm-hmm.
Have those covenants been reviewed, and what were the outcomes of their review?
I would like to see the covenants as if somebody has them. We don't have a copy here.
You don't have a copy?
No, I asked Marty Humphrey if she could find somebody in the neighborhood that would provide us with a copy of that so we had something to go off of.
Couldn't Walmart give you a copy?
I didn't ask Walmart.
Couldn't the mayor's office? I mean, doesn't they have these records?
No. And I'm not, this forum, I'm not going to talk about the redevelopment commission.
Excuse me?
I'm not going to talk about the redevelopment commission in this forum.
No, I'm not talking about any one certain person. I'm just saying I would think those records would be someplace in the offices of Beech Grove.
I might be able to get a copy of it.
Please. Some of the covenances were truck parking in the lot, lighting, deliveries after midnight, things such as
It
that.
wasn't midnight, it was 11 o'clock.
11 o'clock. Things such as those. One more question, we're going to move on.
The grass cutting that Beech Grove did behind the Walmart, do you have dates for those? Can't the compliance people make them pay for our time of cutting? Because that's what they would do for a house, right? If the grass was too high, they would.
Yes,
send a crew in
we
and
could.
charge them and
We could.
Put a lien on the house.
We could.
Until they pay it. So I mean, for all those 3 years of us cutting, shouldn't they be paying us the money for our city?
Theoretically, yes. Yeah. All right. What I want to do now is I want to talk about the compliance division. Compliance was started back probably 2007, 2008. I did it for a little bit. Sam Merle did it for a little bit. Brad Merriweather did it for a little bit. But it came to fruition April of last year when we had the council approved a budget for compliance, and we hired inspectors. And the reason we hired inspectors was to enforce ordinances to clean up the city. And what I'm talking about is grass, weeds, trash, junk cars, and all kinds of stuff. And what I want to go through tonight, I want Derek to go through, is I want him to chronicle everything that's happened since we've started, how you can get a hold of these people and without telling on people, and how you can try and help clean your neighborhood up. And so, Derek, if you could step forward, please.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm Derek Blyce, one of the 2 compliance officers at present. I'll give you an update on basically what's happened since we started with our own inspectors back in April of 2014. Since then, we've issued 1,201 notices of violation throughout the city. Vast majority of those have been resolved. Of those 1,200 violations, we've issued only 49 tickets. That means only 3% of all the places we visit result in someone getting a ticket. And of those, almost 25% were repeat violations for the same address. So really, not many homes in Beech Grove don't take care of their stuff. They may need a reminder every once in a while, but eventually they take care of their problems. The tickets that we issued, 23 of them were for tall grass or wood laying on the ground. 12 of them were for trash or junk on the property. 5 were issued to the same hotel because they refused to get a license. After the 5th one, they decided it was time to get a license. 7 were for improper display of address on a house. That means you have to have a number in front of your house, which basically every house in Beech Grove does now. By some chance, one of those homes, the very next day was the location of a serious police incident, and they had some trouble coordinating where they needed to be because there was not a number on the front of the house. We also gave 2 tickets for improper disposal of waste in a business district over on Emerson Avenue. So since this all started, including re-inspections, we've conducted 2,397 inspections in the past year. We've removed several hundred signs from the city right-of-way. This is mainly those signs you see on telephone poles, we buy houses and things of that nature. As a result of that effort, we don't see those anymore in Beech Grove. Once in a while one will spring up, but most of those companies know they're not going to waste their time and money here because we're not going to let them do it. I reported 166 vehicles to the police department that were abandoned and operative or sitting on our roadways without license plates. And we also reported 32 different structures to the Board of Health, mainly due to being some sort of safety hazard. The building was going to fall down or such. So since we started this program, our main focus has been environmental public nuisances. This is things such as tall grass, junk cars, junk in the yards, and other hazardous conditions. We also monitor abandoned and vacant homes for their conditions, as well as suspected drug homes. While we're out there looking for environmental nuisances, there are some other issues that we do watch for and deal with them as we come across them. For instance, contractors doing work without a permit or a license, door-to-door solicitors, ice cream trucks, like I said, building numbers, but basically every house has a number on it now. That's pretty much a problem of the past. Of course, those illegal signs that I talked about. Most of the violations that we get are handled through this process. We first notice that there's a problem. We leave a note on the door of the property explaining what the problem is and what needs to be done to resolve the problem. 10 days is given for the homeowner to take care of the issue. Then the law requires us to give another 10-day warning that we mail to the property owner as well as the address of the issue in case there's 2 different addresses. Now it says we have to give 10 days from the date they receive the letter in the mail. So it actually works out to be more like 14 days to allow for mailing time. So I'm sure some of you called before and seen a place of tall grass or junk in the yard and know it takes a while for us to get through this process. But after that last 14-day period, then we'll go out, and if it's still there, we'll issue a citation. And then in case of things like grass mowing, we'll have a contractor come out, mow the grass, and then the homeowner will be charged not only for the citation, but also for the cost of mowing the grass. After this citation is issued, repeat offenses come in every 10 days. I can send them another repeat offense, and the fines go higher and higher. First offense in the same year is $100. The second is $250. Third, $2,500. After 3 violations, we can also go through and have the police issue a public nuisance ticket to that address, similar to the businesses. Some of the violations do require different times, such as building numbering is a 30-day wait period. Some things can be issued a ticket on a first offense, for instance, building without a permit or soliciting. Usually, though, we can take care of those by just talking to the person. They'll leave the city, or if it's a permit issue, they didn't realize they needed one because there's some different rules between here and Indianapolis, and they go down to City Hall and get one right away, and it's not a problem. We're currently waiting for the City Council to make a minor change in our nuisance ordinance that'll make it easier for me to find the owners of properties which are vacant. Because of the way it is right now, we can only find those that have a active sewer bill. So a lot of these vacant properties don't have active sewer bills. So hopefully at the City Council meeting next month, that will pass on third reading, and then that'll take care of that little loophole. We receive reports of issues in a number of ways, and you're welcome to use any of these to contact us. You can email us. The email address is compliance@beechgrove.com. You can call us at 803-9099, or you can go to beechgrove.com and fill out the form at the Beech Grove Mayor's Action Line. When you fill out a report, you do not need to include your name, phone number, or any identifying information unless you want me to contact you. Regardless if you do that or not, I never reveal who filed a complaint. That's a good way to start disputes between people, and no matter how much I'm asked, I'm not going to tell. So is there any questions that I can help you answer tonight? Yes, sir.
My name's Joe Hay. I live on 4th Street and I lived down in Beech Grove 58 years.
Mm-hmm.
I have 4 homes on my block. I got 3 homes that need to have something done to them. There's 2 people that made this hell for me and the neighbors. I couldn't have done it. We've got cars on the street and trees growing around them. I called the police twice. They put me on hold and I hang up. I mean, it's got to a point where it's just getting carried away. Got one man's got a 50-gallon plastic container full of oil sitting out in the alley. He runs a motorcycle shop in the neighborhood of homes. Another house, 3 of the houses before use the houses for duck sites, from floor to ceiling. They don't have any meters, and we have the covenants in Beech Grove. Abandoned houses when you have no water line, no electricity, or you don't have the sewer bill. 2 of these homes don't even have addresses on them. That's been going on for 30, 35 years.
And I think, am I interrupting? I'm sorry. I think I know where you're talking about. If you could either see me after the meeting or call me and we'll talk about these issues. There's a couple homes in the city, which he mentioned, that are real problems. The owners are deceased in a couple of cases. Their families never took over the homes, and basically they exist as almost like zombies. Slowly but surely, a lot of that has to go through the Marion County Recorder's and Clerk's office, and eventually it'll be taken for a tax sale. In the meantime, in a lot of these cases, our hands are tied. There are some of these homes that we are mowing by a contractor to keep them at least somewhat in a decent condition, but a lot of the cases we're stuck. But please see me after the meeting, and we'll talk about those particular homes and some other issues that I didn't know were happening over there, and we'll see if we can take care of them for you. Thank you. Yes, sir, in the back.
So you mentioned in your initial presentation that amongst your other duties includes looking at drug houses.
Mm-hmm.
And I already know 911, I already know the Beech Grove Police Department dispatch number, et cetera. So what can you do to help a house in our neighborhood that needs help?
Well, I'm another set of eyes out there. But if there's a home that I can help make sure they're mowing their lawn, not having junk out by the house, not having needles laying on the sidewalk, any of these things, yeah, I know. It's just another It's another thing. It's another, every time I send them a note and say, your grass isn't mowed, that's also a note that said, someone from the city looked at your house today. So it's letting these homes know that we're out there, we're looking at your house, and you better keep it clean. Any other questions? Yes?
Derek, you said there's just 2 compliance officers for the entire city. Obviously, you need the public's help.
Mhm.
You need some of these issues reported in. Again, because you don't have all the resources that you need to help them. So if there's something in your neighborhood, I have a neighbor, I'm going to tell you how many times have I called. If there's a neighbor, a house on your street, a house on your block, a house a mile away, call him, let him know there's an issue. Let's get this city cleaned up and get these people out of here.
Yeah, and she's very right. Right now, and the other compliance officer, he does our fire inspections and works as the fire marshal for the fire department. So when it comes to these issues such as grass, junk, and so on, until we have another one hired, I basically have the entire city. So, yeah, call me. I can't be everywhere, so please call.
Somebody else down the street's going to call. You call.
The number is 803-9099. Most of the time, I am not in the office. I spend as little time in the office as possible. I'm usually out in the street, driving around. So please leave a voicemail. I check them while I'm out in the street. I listen to them on my phone so that I can proactively do things as quickly as possible. Any other?
Isn't that
Yes.
on the number on the bottom of the sewer bill?
I'm not sure if it is or not. It may be.
They had a compliance number in there.
It may be. They put some different things on there from time to time, and they may have put that on there. Yes, Mr. Mascari.
How many zombie homes do we actually have? A zombie home is the bank-owned home. The bank doesn't have to take care of it. Do you have an inventory of that?
I've got a list of them. I want to say right now, where they are not taking care of it, about 13.
That's it?
Of where the bank has it but is not taking care of it. Yeah, 13 or so where they're not taking care of it. We have a lot more that are bank-owned and empty, dozens and dozens. But a vast majority of these, over the course of the last year, I have found out the responsible parties made contacts with the companies that do the contracting, call them, remind them, hey, you need to get out to this house. It's not being mowed again, and they come out. So a lot of these were at one point probably zombie homes, but I've called and harassed them enough that they come out and clean them up. Yes, sir.
On a compliance call, is it just outside that you do, or can you go inside and if it's a rental and the people aren't, they don't have running water inside? Or they don't have structurally sound walls that looks like they're getting ready to cave in, can you make the owner fix that house for the renter?
Right. As I cannot go in their house, but what I can do is refer the case to Marion County Health Department. Just this week, I referred a case just almost identical to what you're talking about to the Marion County Health Department, where there was supposedly folks living in a home that had no water and had structural defects, and they made a visit out there. So although I can't do it, I can get the right people out there. Yes, sir.
Well, with the property itself, if it's being rented, don't you suppose the homeowner that rents the house should know what's going on his own property and take care of it, and if not, fine him?
Yeah. And that's who, if, let's say that there's a house that's a rental and they haven't mowed the grass. Now, I'm not going to know it's a rental until we get later on in the process, but if I find out that it's a rental, I send a letter to the actual owner of the property. And when it comes time for me to actually write out a citation, it does not go to the renters. It goes to the owners of the property. Yes. Yes, sir.
How long can a person leave a street trash can on the street?
Okay, good question. I do check on this once in a while. Trash cans are allowed to be out within 24 hours of trash pickup. So since it's hard to say exactly what time of day your trash pickup is, essentially the day before and day after your day of trash pickup. So if your pickup is on a Wednesday, it can be put out on Tuesday, and it's got to be taken up by Thursday. We find those once in a while. I have a little form letter that basically reminds the residents. Sometimes people go out of town. Sometimes people forget. Something happens. So it's not something we typically write citations for. We just put little reminders out there and say, hey, your trash day is on a Tuesday, and we found your trash can sitting on the street on a Friday. Yes, ma'am.
There may be some that are not able to do it.
Right, and I know of a few of those, and I basically just leave it alone because they're disabled and not able to, and I'm not going to.
People, trash people, I do know of one case, the lady's deceased now, but they used to bring hers up and they would come up and take it down. Normally, we always did it, but if there was a case we didn't get to it, they did it. The trash people would do it because they knew she couldn't do it.
And maybe that's something I can talk with Mr. Merriweather over at the DPW and see if I can give these addresses. I only know of a couple right now where they've said they were disabled. Maybe we can work with them.
They were very good about doing it.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
What's the rule about a rental home that has trees that are overgrowing on someone else's property? Is the rental homeowner responsible for trimming those trees, or is it the property in which they're going over onto?
That's a new question for me. I'll have to look, see if I can find out for you.
Legally, if it's hanging over your property, you can cut it.
Yeah.
You can cut the tree off.
Yeah.
But is it that costs money? Should the owner of the property who?
It sounds more like it would be a civil dispute that we wouldn't necessarily get involved in, but I could check on it. Yes, sir.
Yeah, Derek, you said something, or there was a comment made about a drug house.
Mm-hmm.
You are, if we were to call compliance for that, isn't a protocol to call 911?
Right. The difference is when I'm talking about looking at a drug house, I'm not looking for the activity that's going on inside the house. I'm looking for the cleanliness of the outside of the house. It's one more tool in an arsenal of tools. So if you're wanting to call and say, hey, they're dealing drugs over here, you call 911. If their grass is too tall, you call me. Yeah. Yes, sir.
On my street, 19th Street, they've been, the trash cans have been there for 2 years.
See me there?
Maybe we should check on who lives there.
Yeah. And actually, speaking of, maybe there's somebody that doesn't live there. There's I do go around and I check if there's an abandoned house or a vacant house and they have a trash can. I have our DPW come pick it up and take it away, so it's not just sitting there. But I can check on those on 19th Street for you, sure. Yes, ma'am.
Derek, on our street on 14th, we have 2 bank-owned properties right next door to each other, and we definitely have contacted you. And there definitely have been people sent out. The thing is it just a minimum, very basic level of making sure grass is cut? Because we're talking about 5-foot-tall thistles in the backyard lining the fences, and we have houses for sale in our neighborhood, which that doesn't help. And a lot of the neighbors are contributing to keeping these properties kept up. But when they do get cited, is that all they have to do is mow the grass?
It depends on what the situation. And I know these houses you're talking about over on 14th Street. In those cases, those are a couple of our zombie homes. And the contractor we use does do a minimal. It's very inexpensive to the city. I will tell you this, Indiana passed a law last year. Residents that live adjacent to a vacant home, it's completely legal for you to go on that property and maintain the lawn.
Well, we do that. It would just be nice if we didn't have to.
Yeah, I understand, yeah. And yeah, we take care of the mowing, the basic mowing. Beyond that, there's not much that's done, and it's because of we just don't have the budget to do it. Yeah. Mayor?
Any other questions concerning compliance? Derek's done a yeoman's job, as well as Dave Carlson, our fire inspector. And I think the zombie homes that the council was talking about, and vacant homes, I don't know, how many do we have now?
Roughly 13 that are zombie homes.
Yeah.
What are you talking about, zombie homes? Exactly.
A zombie home would be a home where it's vacant and either the bank owns it but does nothing to it because of a weird state law that doesn't require them to do anything to it. So basically it just sits there and lives out its own life. The other case would be a home where the residents are deceased and no next of kin ever claimed the home. So it's just basically living there in its own own accord.
Can they charge the bank for that, for you cutting that? I mean, just like you would do if somebody owned it?
In the state of Indiana, if the bank has not put the home into their name, in the state of Indiana, we cannot.
Then they couldn't sell it, so they paid you.
Yeah.
Dawn?
Can you not put a lien on the property? Properties can't close unless the lien is cleared. So if we're spending our resources to mow those grasses, put a lien on it.
What's happened, that is a great recommendation, but the city has done that in the past, long before us. There was liens on properties. When it comes to closing, the court will throw the liens out to get the property closed. So. How many vacant homes now?
That are
not zombie.
Not zombie vacant. It's several dozen. I want to say roughly 70.
When we started 3.5 years ago, there was 83. So it was bad, and it's coming down. It just takes time. Any other questions for compliance? I just want you to think what would have happened. What would the city look like if we didn't do this?
I think that's great.
I mean, we would be in trouble. And Danny, how many people hit the website?
Oh, we probably had 40,000 a month.
Yeah. So, how many people go to the website each month for issues or to read or to? So, I want to talk very briefly because something else that happened within the last 2 weeks was the incident on South 4th with the police officer. And I cannot talk about it very much because it's still being processed. But my opinion as a citizen and my opinion as a mayor, I'm proud of that officer. I'm proud of all the officers, but I'm proud of that officer. He had to make a decision that you don't want to make your entire career as a firefighter, and anybody who's been a firefighter or a police officer knows that you get in situations where you could lose your life. And he was in a situation during that time where he could have lost his life, and he did exactly what he was trained to do. I had a chance to speak with him on the phone, and I told him how much I appreciated what he did. Taking a life is there's no solace in that, but he protected a whole neighborhood and he protected his fellow employees. It was a very unfortunate incident, and I hope it never happens again. But I look forward to him returning to duty, and so I can publicly acknowledge him. So that's all I'm going to say about that. That was an incident that was well handled by our police department, and it's time to move on. I want to bring the fire chief up and talk just a little bit about heroin. There's a couple things he's going to talk about, but we have a heroin problem in the city of Beech Grove. We're no different than anybody else. And for us to sit here and say we don't have one, then that's not accurate. We have crime problems here. We're no different than anybody else. We have a heroin problem here. We're no different than anybody else. Chief, can you brief us briefly, please?
Yes, good evening. I have several items I'd like to discuss with you this evening. The first is a problem with heroin overdoses, and it is taxing on the city. Over the last year, we went back and counted how many numbers of times the ambulance went out and we actually administered Narcan for overdose of opium. And it was 25 times. And that may not sound like a lot here in the community, but that does not count the number of overdose deaths we experienced, the number of overdoses where we responded with police to a behavioral problem. Those have significantly increased over the last year also. But with the 25 times we did go out and administer Narcan to a patient who's overdosed, that is very taxing on not only the ambulance crew itself, but it requires extra personnel. So each time we transport these people to the hospital, we have to take personnel off engine to transport with that patient to the hospital. So that crew could be out of service for over an hour. It's not like it was when we had St. Francis here in our back corner, where our crews would have a real quick turnaround with the south side and going downtown. The turnaround time increases for just the drive time, getting down to the hospital, doing patient care, and getting back to the city. So those run times increase. I'd like to start off the next topic and ask everyone, who's certified in CPR here in this group? Quite a bit. I want to let you know the Beech Grove Fire Department, we provide CPR and AED training to our employees, but also the community. We will come out and do CPR AED training for clubs, groups, any organization, church groups, whoever is interested in taking a class. We can also provide a basic friends and family CPR class, which is the step down. It doesn't provide a card, but it gives you the initial training you will need if someone suddenly has a cardiac arrest. We have implemented a community risk reduction program here in Beech Grove. The fire department has purchased 6 AEDs for the community buildings. As you look behind me, you see AED here in the corner for City Hall. There's another one downstairs on the public side. We placed one at our senior citizens building, Hornet Park, out with DPW. We have loaners available for the Beech Grove Little League and the softball league. So we do have a couple loaners available. Once those seasons are over, those loaners will be available, where if you do have CPR training, you can come in, and if you have a large family event going on down at the park, we can actually sign those out to you. We work with our medical director, Dr. Russell from St. Francis, and he's allowed us to do this program here in our community. So it's very beneficial for us to keep the early access CPR survival chain going with teaching everyone CPR. Make sure you guys can start CPR before 911 arrives, and now with the AEDs in the community, help with early defibrillation. If anyone's interested in taking a CPR class, feel free to contact me personally. My number is 808-5605, or you can talk to Angel at Hornet Park Community Center, and she can give you the updates on the next classes that will be going on. The Beech Grove Fire Department just completed its CAS accreditation, and that's a Commission on Accreditation of Ambulance Services. They come out and they take a look at our internal operations as a fire department and what we provide as an ambulance service. They take a look at our policies, procedures, what our protocols are, how we interact with our medical director, what type of training we receive, and this group comes in and with a fine microscope, they take a look at every single piece of information, data we collect, and I'm proud to say we were reaccredited for another 3 years. CAS accreditation is a gold standard for ambulance services across the nation. The Beech Grove Fire Department, when we first became accredited, we were the first fire department in Indiana to receive this certification. So we're very proud of that certification, and thank you. And your guys do an excellent job for you. I'm very proud of each and every member of our fire department. We partnered with Citizens Energy. They gave us 50 smoke detectors last week, so we will be doing some smoke detector blitzes this summer in the community. Whenever a resident sells in Beech Grove, before the home is sold, the fire department goes out, we check and make sure it has operating smoke detectors. With the program, when we go out on ambulance runs and fire runs, we usually check the house for an operating smoke detector. If it doesn't have an operating smoke detector, we're placing one up for the residents. So we just want to ensure that each member of our community does have an operating smoke detector. The last item I want to talk about was fireworks. Since it's fireworks season, I should give this back to Derek as a nuisance, but Indiana fireworks law, they categorize fireworks into two categories. One is the consumer fireworks, which is your bottle rockets, Roman candles, the firecrackers, and they call Section 8 the smaller fireworks, the sparklers, the little fountain cones. The sparklers and fountain cones, people can light those year-round. Here at the 4th of July, the large consumer fireworks, 5 days before the 4th of July and 5 days after, those are legal in Indiana. And they do set a time frame from 9 a.m. to 11 p.m. for holidays. And the Indiana state law states on the holiday itself, they can be used from 9 to midnight. So that is Indiana law. It's not nothing much we can do about but live within those confines. So hopefully if you do have neighbors utilizing fireworks, they do it in a safe, appropriate manner. Have a water extinguisher, fire extinguisher, a water hose close by. I know a lot of people call with concerns because their neighbors set off fireworks and you get bottle rockets on top of houses, the roofs, and it is a concern because it can start fires. Luckily, it hasn't been too dry this year, so we're not too afraid of any grass and mulch leaf fires, but it's definitely something to be aware of. But if you do have people utilizing those, please use caution and be safe with those. Is there any questions that I can answer about the fire department itself?
This doesn't have anything to do with the 4th of July, but there's at times on New Year's Eve, when the New Year comes in, you'll hear either fireworks or somebody shooting a gun off. And what is the rule on that?
The rule is this. Indiana law states on holidays, Memorial Day, Labor Day, they classify New Year's Eve and the 4th of July as a holiday where you're allowed to set off fireworks. No. No. Yes, sir.
Now, when it comes to Motel 6 being deemed a public nuisance, is that property also a nuisance for the fire department? And the second question of that is, for your heroin overdoses, how many of them came from the motel?
Relatively a small number for Motel 6. With the runs that we've done there was 37 EMS runs, which really is an average number for a hotel. It's a little bit more than Super 8 and La Quinta. But with the influx of people traveling, you can't stop people from having a medical emergency. It's just like Walmart, which is with the large influx of people to that building facility, you can expect an increased number of runs at that location.
Do the police carry Narcan and can they administer it?
We do not carry it.
Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. You probably already answered this, but can you certify people in CPR?
Yes, absolutely.
Well, I'd rather give you the money when it comes time to recertify them.
When we do training here at Hornet Park for the community, there's no charge for that class. The only item that we charge for, now kind of step back, the cards cost $5 each. And we usually have the citizens pay for the cards, but we provide the class for free. So yes.
You mentioned something about friends and family. Like, how many people would you have to have in a group to have one of you go over and do CPR?
We've done as little as 4.
Oh,
So we've done relatively small groups,
Our family
just to
was 20, so I just wondered if, you know.
make sure that's taken care of. And I'll be glad to answer any questions for you. Yes, Diane?
My job requires, of course, my profession requires CPR certification, and I was certified through this class. And when I ran the fitness center at Hornet Park Community Center, I had all my staff certified through 1988, certified through. I had to go to the fire department a couple of times myself to be certified. Do you do that in public, or would you prefer it in a group at the community center?
Right now, we prefer it in the group, the community center, because we now are offering those classes there. And we've tried to set those around different people's schedule. We're offered in the morning, in the afternoon, and then at evening. Try to hit everyone's work schedules, and Angel's going to kind of tabulate for us and see what classes we have the biggest response for. If they're all evening classes, we'll do evening and mix in some of the other classes also. But again, if you do have a question, please feel free to give me a call, 808-5605. If you have any complaints about the fire department, I definitely would love to hear about them, because I would like to meet with you and resolve any issues we do have. We're here for the community, and greatly appreciate everybody's support. Thank you.
I want to give a little speech. My folks moved to Beech Grove in 1923. At that time, they had a horse barn down here, right behind this building. Then they got a Stetson. My father was a fireman, and he was a policeman for 30-some years. Our fire department's come a long ways from that time, folks. You got a good bunch of people here. You got a good fire department. You got a good police department. Show your appreciation to them.
Thanks, Ted. 85% of the runs that the fire department makes is EMS. So the reason that we became accredited in the first place was that is what we do the most, so we better be good at it. So a company come in and judged us, and we met the criteria. And actually, we were only 60%, so we could do better. And we became accredited in 2003, and we've met the gold standard ever since. You have the best ambulance service anywhere in central Indiana, and you should be proud of these people.
We'd just like to call Beech Grove Dispatch and be able to get them.
That's out of our control. That happened before we were born. Something else that happened within the last 2 weeks that you haven't heard much about was the shoplifter at Walmart that ran from the police, and there ended up being an accident, and one person lost their life. I'm not going to talk much about that. The chief called me and informed me immediately when that happened. My only comment was, and I don't know much of the parameters, and I know absolutely nothing about police chases, but I do know about good judgment. And we had 3 officers who were in that pursuit. They called the pursuit off because of the safety of innocent bystanders and kids trying to catch the school bus. Another example of excellent decision-making, and unfortunately it ended up in a tragedy, but that was not our doing as a police department. So I wanted to put that out there. That was a very unfortunate event, but I am, again, proud of how our police officers handled it and how the police department managed that scene. So I needed to brief that because that happened when I was gone as well. I want to talk to you about St. Francis, and I want to brief you on that property. There's been a couple, 3 projects go on, and currently the building, as you all know, is empty. There's a company called Vets Help. They're based off of the East Coast. They are interested in purchasing the property. They have until the end of June to do it. I meet monthly with the president of Indianapolis Franciscan, and we talk about it. And the other day I met with the executive board here. I don't think they're going to come through. And I think after June the 30th, it's going to continue to be vacant. St. Francis has informed me that it costs them $7,500 a day to maintain that building. So I asked him, why would you keep it? Why would you want to keep that there? Over the past 3 years, they have spent millions of dollars for an empty building, and it makes no sense. Craig will have to help me, and Dan will have to help me. Shortly after the building closed, we approached the assessor's office and asked them to start taxing them because they no longer were a 501(c)(3) for that property. They did not provide hospital service or patient care. The first year that they taxed them, they appealed it, and they won their appeal, and they
won their appeal not as a not-for-profit, but because of the assessment on the building. They said the building wasn't worth as much, and so that's what they won. And so there is a difference, and we're going to hold them some money back that we collected in taxes. It's sitting there. We have not spent a penny of this money that we've gotten, just in case we didn't know how it was coming out.
And now, again, this year, they were presented a tax bill for 2015, and I think they paid, but the amount is not going to be, the assessment of the property was dropped.
Right. It's going to be a lower dollar amount, which that sits in a TIP district, so that's sitting in the redevelopment commission bank account. The past two tax amounts, and we'll get tax money from them here by the end of June, and we don't know what that dollar amount is. We're looking for a lot lower than what we received in the past.
But we have been working with them because we don't think that Bet's Help is going to, I don't think it's going to happen.
What is Bet's Help?
It's a group that helps veterans.
Okay.
And I just don't think it's, based on previous histories, I just don't think it's going to work out. And then, once again, we're back to ground zero. Here we are with a vacant building with no chance. So we're working through that, and last week they were given notification that they, too, will be classified as a nuisance if they don't clean their property up. So now, last Monday, they started to clean the outside of the property up. You drive by the hospital property, it looks awful. And the people that live around there have to look at that every single day. So now they're starting to clean it up, and we're going to monitor them all the time to make sure that they keep it clean. They made a commitment when they closed the building that they would maintain the property, and they haven't done a very good job. This property across from them, the two medical buildings, do not belong to St. Francis. That's owned by a private person. And this bridge, the walk bridge across 17th Street, I would say in about 2 weeks they're going to take that down. They'll have to close the road for a couple, 3 days to get it down, but plans are in the works to remove that sky bridge.
Are those two buildings, are they still full of people in those?
Both of them are empty.
So
all of that is empty. All of that. So I wanted to update you on that. It's a sad story. We're having trouble with the police department. Here we are. I mean, they're stretched again because people are getting in that building, and the security at the hospital is catching these people. Our police have to go over there and take these people downtown, and we're not getting very good cooperation from the prosecutor's office. So
now, why do they take them downtown?
they're under arrest.
Why doesn't Beech put them in our jail?
Ours is just Ours is just holding.
We do not have a jail. Everybody arrested in Marion County go through what's called APC. It's a processing center or the juvenile center.
I thought we had a jail.
No.
So, so with the hospital, it's just, we'll meet again after the July 4th holidays, and hopefully we'll work out with, something with them. Frank, I don't know if Frank's still here or not. Frank has been very diligent about working to get something going at St. Francis, and he was with us the other day with another developer. So we'll see what happens. I could just be optimistic and go from there. You have any comment on that, Frank?
Joe Whitsitt still is in play. He's been in town a few times. He's not back on. His plan still is in play.
So that is something that we're working on.
Pardon me?
No. Did someone say something? Mike?
Wants to tear it all down except for the two oldest buildings, build, put apartments in there and build homes.
Do you know when the last assessment was down in St. Francis? I thought it was 2012. Is that right, Dan?
I think there might have been one newer than this. I think when they did the repeal was the last assessment.
The last I saw, it went from 46 million down to 23 million in 2012. Now, have they reassessed again?
I'm not 100% sure on that because we don't really know until we get back money in, what the actual assessment is.
Now, are they paying the 3% like us small business owners are against that kind of money? That's pretty significant.
Yeah, I can't answer that. I'm not sure.
Now, for the other two buildings that are privately owned on the other side of Sky Bridge, is there plans to develop that? I mean, what's the reasoning for tearing down the Sky Bridge?
I'm not sure what, St. Francis controls the Sky Bridge. I'm not sure what their reason is for tearing it down. I don't know. There's no development plans in place or ready for the two separate buildings.
There's been no structural issues that have been brought to anybody's attention that says that, you know, yeah, you must, good thing you tear it down, or there's been.
I don't believe so. Frank?
The two buildings on 17th Street that the Whitsitt Group did buy.
Oh, they did?
He does own them.
Okay. Okay. But I wanted to talk to you, that's the most asked question is St. Francis. And it's just very frustrating. Dan?
Dennis, I just wanted to let the citizens know, this is the total cost to St. Francis. There's not one tax dollar being spent on this. The building commissioner even went as far as the traffic control on 17th Street. They have to hire a company to do it. And that's at St. Francis cost too. He stated that I think Steady Excavating's doing it with in conjunction with the engineers from St. Francis.
Thank you. Any other questions on St. Francis?
Yes. This Vets Health, you said that you just don't believe that that's going to go through. Is that because something on their end that they're not following through, or St. Francis is in, they're not?
No, I don't think it has anything to do with St. Francis. I think it's all on their end. It's been the track history. But that's the latest on St. Francis. And we wish we had better news. I don't know. I would say peanuts, $1. I don't know. We don't own the property. We don't manage it or anything like that. But that's St. Francis. I want to talk to you just very briefly about an incident over the weekend with one of our police officers. And I'm not going to, again, I'm not going to go into detail, but I need to respond to it because it happened. We had an officer that obviously you know that was arrested for OWI. Everybody makes poor choices. She has worked for the city for over 18 years. She has a impeccable discipline record, nothing. She is a good police officer. She's a good detective. The chief will handle the situation. So far, it's been handled very good. And when the time for discipline is to occur, we will sit down and discuss it. I was upset because I expect better from the employees of the city. But again, we're all human. We all make bad choices. She made a bad choice, and I suspect that she will pay for it. But anyway, that doesn't prelude the fact that she has a stellar record and she's a good employee. So I'll leave it at that, and we will act accordingly when the time is right. So those are some of the things that happened within the last 2 weeks. I want to talk to you about what's going to happen over the next 2 years from a public safety standpoint. Dan and I met today with our financial planner for the city. Beginning in 2016, we will hire an additional firefighter, an additional police officer, and that is the first staffing increase since 2004 for both departments. We will purchase 5 new police vehicles, and we will, the chief will hire someone to be in the front lobby of the police department every single day from 4 p.m. to midnight to assist you. We will begin the process to talk about new body armor and radios for the police department. In the same time, we will talk about new turnout gear, new air packs, and radios for the fire department. We won't spend any funds in 2016, but we will plan for 2017. That's when the updates need to occur. In 2017, we will hire one more additional firefighter, and we will hire 2 more additional police officers. And that helps. That doesn't cure, but it helps. From now until the end of this year, we will purchase a new fire engine. We will fortify the front lobby of the police department with ADA doors and bulletproof front door. We will remove gasoline tanks and diesel tanks behind the police department and in the city park, and we will have one central location for fueling. And then we will increase security here at City Hall, and we will put fencing around the parking lot at the police department. And we'll have automatic gates to where the police can drive in and out, and the public will no longer be allowed to access the back of that building. And that the only reason we are doing that is for the safety of the police officer. We had an almost ugly incident there. We had someone who was in a gang that was arrested, and when they drove around the back, his buddies were waiting on him. So we can't have that. So we have to protect the police officer, and that's what we're going to do. That'll probably happen sometime in August or September. All of these things we can do and pay cash for because of the increase in the public safety tax that was approved by the City County Council. And I applaud them for that, because otherwise we can't do these things. So I wanted to talk about that because we are concerned about the safety of everyone who lives here. And we want the best for you, but we want the best for the men and women who work on our departments. So that's it. Do you have any questions for us?
I've got a generic one to wrap up the whole concept of the officers, who might be guiding that discretion? What decisions are involved in that discretion? How does one determine whether it's time to hit that Walmart, that hotel, that house with the public nuisance ticket and another public nuisance ticket, if that discretion of the officer?
What do you think, Chief?
The discretion is like any law that police have to enforce. You look at what it's gonna do, and then you also look at how the ordinance is written, what you can write it for. There is also a time limit that people have to correct their issue. If they've corrected their issue, that violation stops. So sometimes it's several violations that it might have to take place, but we are going to encourage our officers to write the violations when they fit the violation. And it will be my decision, along with our deputy chief, to review it and make sure that our troubled homes and businesses get written.
Are those guidelines clearly defined in the statute?
They are very clearly defined.
I go to the website somewhere and see the statute?
You'll be able to look at the Beech Grove's ordinance, and it says what violations can occur for that.
I know we're getting ready to adjourn. Something everybody needs to know about next Tuesday, there's talk about Marion County Library and Beech Grove Library merging. That's at the library, correct? And, you know, have an open mind when you go there, you know, listen to the pros and cons, and see what they have to say. I've seen hundreds of presentations, you just gotta relax and listen to what they have to say. This is not a done deal, but we need to listen. Is it 6 o'clock?
Yes.
6 o'clock, 6:30.
You can come in anytime during that.
Dennis, can you speak a little bit about the cameras that are going to go in our parks?
Beg your pardon?
Can you speak a little bit about the cameras that are going to go into our parks?
Yeah, the Parks Director put surveillance cameras in the maintenance building in the city park. And the reason he did that was because of vandalism. So they've been in there for, I don't know, a couple months, and it seems to have curbed it a little bit. But anyway, now he's looking at putting cameras in all of the city parks. It's not so much that we're having problems, it's just such a deterrent. And it's still that he had one company come out yesterday to look at it. He's going to have one or two more. But he's interested in doing that and to deter vandalism. We have a lot of vandalism in the city park, and it's unfortunate because we have great parks. So, yes?
How soon are they going to start taking the applications for the police department at the lobby?
Probably this fall. That's something that we can't do until the first of the year.
Right.
I would say that we'd have to write a job description and then advertise. Yes?
All the spending that you mentioned, how will that affect our property taxes?
Your property taxes are capped at 1%. A lot of this that we are doing, we are paying cash for.
I know our property taxes went up.
Yeah. The assessed valuation of the city went up. Do you realize what that means? Your property is worth more money. That's a good thing. But the fact that we pay cash is also a good sign. So all of these investments that I just talked about this year for the police and fire is all will be paid through the general, or through the funds. So, any other questions?
Yeah, I'd like to see some of the speeding on 13th Avenue taken care of, or at least an attempt, like radar and park, or on Alton Avenue.
If you can send me an email what time it's happening and what location. They just can't send an officer out there 24 hours.
They miss the turn most of the time.
Just, if you have a time and day that it happens, send me an email and I can put an officer out there. Or I can periodically put one out there.
Anytime.
Okay.
Yes.
I'd just like to ask, like this meeting tonight, we only heard about it because neighbors that look on Facebook. How come there wasn't more put out so that?
Because it was,
people
we,
could attend?
I decided to do it like Monday or Tuesday, or Monday, and I got back in town last Wednesday, so it took me a while to get going, to get caught up, and so I decided I wanted to do it on Monday. In the future, you know, when things aren't so.
Even if it would have been put on the news last night, it would have helped us people that didn't hear about it until 5 o'clock today.
If we didn't have, if they weren't so wrapped up in Walmart, it would have never been on the television.
I'm sorry.
If they wouldn't have been, the media wouldn't have been so wrapped up on Walmart, it would have never been on the media. It would have never been on television. So, yes. Yes. We could have, yes.
If it's a two-way street, they have to park in the same direction that you would go. Basically, the passenger side has to be against the curb on a two-way street.
But you guys in my neighborhood, the last 2 years, one guy got one about 2 weeks ago, parked the wrong way, and about 2 years ago, the other guy did the same. The guy taking the parking space. They do the whole street.
Yes. A two-way street, you have to park on the passenger side has to be against the curb, or it's a violation.
All right. Yes.
You said, I understand why you said the security was being stepped up at the police department, but what's the need for added security here? You said you guys were adding security here.
Yeah, we're going to add cameras here.
Cameras?
Yeah. For a couple of reasons. One is, and it's been corrected, I think, but we have we have people who fall when they go out the front door, and we want to watch that closer. And then and I don't really want to get into details, but it has to do with sewage works bills.
Okay, and will you be adding a steel door on the clerk treasurer side to protect the money area like you have, or will you, how will you be protecting the money wherever you guys?
It's in a vault. It's in a safe already.
There's no need for that.
Yes.
Can I make a couple of speeches? I belong to two nice organizations. You people that are 60 years old, we have a wonderful senior citizen place down there. Come down there. This man here and the council helped us get a new bus and a new car to haul the shut-ins and stuff around. Then also, I belong to Beautify Beech Grove. The first thing I want to tell you, it's non-political. It's non-political. We have all party people. It don't cost you anything to join. Just come down to the library on Tuesday, the first Tuesday of the month, and meet with us. And we're the ones that helps get the decorations and stuff. They helped us get the flags down, the cemetery down in the park, which is a great thing. We honor branches of service down there. Sometime you're out, just drive down and see what them flags look like. I tried 2 years, I kinda instigated that, and I kept raising cane. And this man up here and other people helped us put them flags and poles and stuff up. These guys need some credit, folks, they need some credit.
All right. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
Has there been more rash of break-ins that happened like a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago?
It's been a couple of weekends ago that there was a rash of break-ins, and it's not happened since and didn't happen before. And we do not have a suspect or suspects at this time. It's pretty unusual.
Yeah, that's what I thought, so there's lots of different ones, and wondered if it happened before.
Yeah, it hadn't happened since.
All right. Thank you very much, folks. Have a great evening.